time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
What is going on, faithful? I am live in Seattle from the hotel and trying to bring as much content as I possibly can as we're throwing all these events and whatnot. So I got to wake up early and get a lot of these. So this is not a live show. Recorded this yesterday. Shout out to Casey Lima, who's done a great job putting these lists together. And I want to apologize to him publicly. He sent the list over for last week's show. Internet was so bad in Santa Clara at the tailgate, I couldn't get it. So I'm trying to get it done earlier today. We're doing the top 5 49ers to watch for in this game versus Seahawks, and make no mistake about it. This is the number 1 game on the 49ers schedule for the entire year. It's not what we had planned. We thought the Rams would be more in contention. We thought those would be important games. Rams have just been terrible, right? Seahawks, hey, they've done well. They're 2 games out of first place, and the 49ers have an opportunity to lock up the division in Week 15. The first team in the NFL to have that opportunity. You win this, you're the first team, 49ers, to lock up your division. Worst case scenario, 3 seed, right? So without further ado, and again, we don't want to make this an obvious list. It's very easy just to say Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, and all that every single week. We try not to. We try to highlight different 49ers that maybe are on the rise or that could play a pivotal role. We don't want to always go with the obvious answers, but sometimes we just can't help it.
Number 5.
Number 5, we had to put him on the list, man. We had to. Brock Purdy, BCB, baby. And, you go through all the nicknames, Brock Star, Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Relevant, all that kind of different stuff. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. He has lit the football world on fire, and rightfully so. Being the first player ever that was the last pick in the draft to start a game, throw a pass, complete a pass, throw a touchdown, first rookie ever to beat Tom Brady. Hey, it goes on and on and on. And so, Kyle Shanahan talked about how his performance is not being too much of a surprise. And the head coach is always going to play everything down. That's what Kyle does. If it's a big time deal, he plays it down. If it's not a big deal, he plays it up. That's his job. But when you watch him play, I keep going back to this, and everybody always wants to focus on what's coming next year. Who's the quarterback next year? Here's what I'm saying. Enjoy this. This is fun as anything could be. Now, the oblique strain and all that kind of stuff, and, he took the hard hit when he audibled to the first play, and, he came out and owned that. Shanahan said, yep, you called the wrong audible, buddy. Took the huge hit on the touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey. That's when he strained the oblique. He's fine, guys. Let me just say this. He came out and publicly said he would have kept playing the whole game. He played 2 quarters after the injury took place. He's going to be fine. He's 100% playing. He's out there running around doing drills. And, they're putting stuff out there about how he's not throwing, whatever else. I'm telling you right now, Brock Purdy's starting this game. And I don't think that he has to be amazing. He really, really doesn't. And if you look at Seattle's defense, it looks similar to the 49ers defense. The only problem is they give away way too many points. They've allowed 93 points in their last 3 games, which is ridiculous. They do have a very good quality young secondary. Tariq Woolen, 6 interceptions. He's been great. Kobe Bryant out there, who's been all right. Diggs is always great at the safety position. But you don't need this game to be on the shoulders of Brock Purdy. He doesn't have to have all those highlight plays. If they do come, wonderful. But it's not needed. What I want to watch and what I care about is just the fact, sorry about this, got to adjust the camera here. We got a makeshift setup here in the hotel room. I want to see how he continues to handle the pressure in a foreign environment, right? Both of his games against the Dolphins and last week, they're both at home against the Bucs. So I want to see how he does in a crazy environment. This is probably the truest test to playoff football that he's going to get left on the 49ers 4-game schedule. That's what I want to see. And I hate to tell you this, I think he's going to make mistakes. And I don't think that's a bad thing. The 49ers can overcome that relatively easily. This is a very winnable game. I know it's division rival. I know it's on the road, hostile environment. I know it's a short week. But yeah, I'm going to keep saying this every single time I talk. The 49ers are built to win these type of games. Why? Dominant defense, strong running game. There's a reason why Kyle Shanahan has 4 road playoff wins in 3 years. There's a reason why. And that brings us to number
4.
This is one I don't think anybody would pick or would have guessed. Defensive tackle Ty McGill, baby. What a season the 49ers have had with injuries. They stack at certain positions almost always, quarterback, and defensive tackle, and it's just what it is. But, the defensive line was a strength of this team, but you've lost so much. Kinlaw, Armstead was out for a while. Maurice Hurst before the season. Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway. Good gosh, that's ridiculous. But Ty McGill has stepped up and played admirably well. Took the spot of Akeem Spence, which I think we'll get Spence back this week as well. But Ty McGill has been great. And, with all of the injuries taking place, McGill is the next man up. Depending on the availability of Kenneth Walker, which I do expect to play, backup DJ Dallas, he's probably going to be out again as well. But it's just hard for Seattle's offense is designed to be a power running game and a dink and dunk passing offense. Efficient. That's what they want it to be. Offensive line doesn't match. Whenever you had Rashard Penny and you had a healthy Kenneth Walker, sure, it looked good at times. But remember, this is a team that rushed for like 36 yards against the 49ers week 2. So it's not something that I'm really like, oh, man, shaking in my boots. It's not. And McGill can produce pressure up the middle, which he did last week against the Bucs. Again, just another key player that I think plays a crucial role for the 49ers, despite it being a short week.
Number 3.
Next up, we got the hyena, Diamador Lenore, who continues just to be incredible. Now, Emmanuel Mosley has had his best games of his career against DK Metcalf. Can Demo step in and do the same thing? He's a fighter. There's no doubt about it. Very, very physical. Left the game briefly last week, and that scared me because, again, talking about stacking injuries, you already lost Mosley. You already lost Verrett. Don't want to lose Demo as well, who's been playing great. And so it's going to be crucial. I would not have a problem if somebody had Demo number 1 on this list. But he is such a big deal. And if you look at the wide receivers for Seattle, they're unbelievable. There's no DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They have produced 143 receptions and 14 touchdowns this year. Pretty dang impressive. And, you look at what DK's done and what Lockett's done. Lockett has scored a touchdown in 6 straight games. And, they're going to rotate back and forth. And so, you're going to have snaps against both of them. Not too worried about Mooney Ward. He handles everything that he does. I mean, he's pretty great. But how is Demo going to live up to this? It's one of the toughest offensive tests he's had this year. And so I'm really, really excited to see what's going to happen there. Now, if you are one of the amazing people that happens to make it out to Seattle with us, I want you to come say what's up, depending on, we've got this awesome freaking tailgate set up, Tony T Sports Lounge. Come out with us right across the street from the stadium is 1 block away. Get your tickets, 49ers Rush roadtrip.com. I'm sporting my Seattle Supersonics NBA Jam with Detlef Shrimp and Sean Kemp on there, which I think is a lot of fun. And, I've already got a lot of comments just going out and getting breakfast and all that kind of stuff. But, man, if you ever get the opportunity to come out and say what's up, please do. Build this community, build those relationships, put a face to the name. I know you guys see me all the time. I don't get to see you. That's something that's very, very important to me. So relationships is why we started this podcast, and it's why this podcast is going to continue to grow.
Number 2.
I can't help myself. Jordan Mason, JP Mason. Christian McCaffrey is going to be his guy. He's going to be the predominant runner, all those things. Now, in my projections for this game, I actually have them get the same number of carries, not touches, but same number of carries, 15 apiece. I think that he is going to continue to ball out. If you look at Pro Football Focus grades, he's the number 2 player on the 49ers offense for the year, as far as just how positive he is on a snap-per-snap basis. He's great. Overtook Ty Davis-Price. They activated Tevin Coleman last week, but he didn't get a snap on offense. I am so pumped about this kid. And it's been limited opportunities. I understand. Small sample size. I get that. I totally understand that. But he has showed up in crucial moments. And sooner or later, whether it's this game or the next, Kyle Shanahan's going to have to give him meaningful carries in the first half. Once that happens, watch out. Debo's out. That breaks all of our hearts. There's no doubt about it. And I'm as upset as anybody is about the injury and all those things. And, oops, sorry about that, guys. People want to play the whole blame game and all that stuff, whatever else. Football is football. And whenever you have dominating physical skill sets at the running back position, you got them all. And this Seattle defense is as bad as it gets. It's as bad as it gets. If you just look at the Seattle defense against the run, they're the second worst in the NFL. The Texans are the only worst team in the NFL. The Texans. That's it. And you're having teams like the Rams who have terrible rushing attacks run rampant. Josh Jacobs injured, rushed for over 200 yards by himself against this team. I don't care who's getting the rock, but all I do know is, man, it is going to be impressive. And I'm so pumped to continue to see number 24 go out there and just make freaking hit after hit after hit and just impose his will. Impose his will. And that's exactly what should happen this week. Short week, division game, everything's on the line. Run it down their dang throats, man. Run it down their throats. Now, before we get to number one and our honorable mention, which I'm so excited about, the best way to support this show, patreon.com.
All you got to do is go to patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast. And as soon as you sign up, you get almost everything, depending on the tier you pick. And if you're just interested in 49ers play, guess what? We have every single offensive, defensive, and special teams play from the last 2.5 years. Every single game for the 49ers. Nobody else has this content. Now, not to mention we have extra episodes weekly. We've got scouting report breakdowns. We've got betting. We've got your one-stop shop for 49ers content. And if you want to be heard, guess what? We got Zoom Hangouts twice a month where we listen to you. Patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast, or just Google Patreon and 49ers. We're the first one that shows up.
All right. Now, our honorable mention, players to watch, got to start with Nick Bosa. And the main reason why I put him on here, he could be number one on this list every single week. But this is one of the last primetime games of the 49ers this year. You have to leave a lasting impact on the voters, on the NFL public, on the media for why you deserve player of the year, defensive player of the year. And he is. There's no doubt about it. So this is an opportunity, and I hope that he seizes it. Talanoa Hufanga, he's got some busted plays, man. Got bailed out with the penalty last week. He's just had some issues with consistency and communication with Jimmy Ward. Those two, it's been a little oil and water a little bit. Not that they're not getting along. I'm just saying the communication, because Huff wants to change it so late. I don't need him to be amazing. I don't need him to get the interception. I don't need that. Just do your job. This team, the Seattle Seahawks, can't beat you unless you give them opportunities to beat you. Huff's got to clean it up. The Debo injury is huge. That brings us to our last player here on honorable mention, Ray McCloud. Everybody wants to talk Danny Gray, and Kyle Shanahan even said basically the same thing. Danny Gray plays behind Brandon Ayuk, who's been in incredible shape. These are the words of Kyle Shanahan. That's why Danny Gray hasn't got that many opportunities. Despite what Shanahan said, last 6 weeks being really, really good in practice. Ray McCloud plays behind Debo. His snap share is going to go up. I expect him to get at least 3 carries. We saw it in the second half last week versus the Bucs. Ray is going to be getting a lot more snaps. I want to see how he's going to answer. And that brings us to
number one.
I think this player has been playing Pro Bowl football for a while. I think if you look at the last 2 to 3 weeks, there isn't a legitimate statement to say Dre Greenlaw is an all-pro linebacker this year. If you wanted to make the argument, I'm not doing that, but I think that the argument could be made best linebacker on the team. Because of that, I think Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner are going to continue iron sharpen iron, compete against each other this week. Dre Greenlaw had 15 tackles and an interception last game. Previous game for that led the team in tackles and scored a touchdown. He is all over the freaking place. Because of that, I think the 49ers linebackers are going to go above and freaking beyond. And all of that is following the return of the big sack monster himself, yummy, Eric Armstead. I kept telling everybody all year, when Armstead returns, the linebacker play will elevate. Well, it's already at a high level. We're seeing how high it can go. Literally, those two players dominated the Bucs game more than anybody else. Fred Warner Dre Greenlaw. That's going to continue. Big play Dre, he's just been nuts, man. If you just look at the last month, 38 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, forced fumble, and an interception. And guess what? When did Dre Greenlaw come onto the scene? When? That's right, the CEO of Seattle. And that was with Russell Wilson. You remember the interception? In the playoff game, had the huge return. We lost. Chase McLaughlin misses the 47-yard field goal. But then you go to the last game of the year against Travis Homer on that tight end on the 1-inch line. That was when he showed up and showed the world who he is. Why not? Primetime game. Let's put a stamp on it. Let's finish it. I am so excited to see what this guy can bring. He is incredible. I love Dre Greenlaw, my favorite player in the NFL. He's my number 1 player on the 49ers. The NFL don't care. I love watching him play, love watching him hit. The CEO of Seattle will return, baby, and dominate. I love it. Just watch 5'7" out there. Just watch him. He's going to have a game for the ages. I really believe that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, thanks again to Casey Lima, this show's executive producer. Live from Seattle, man. The next time we see each other will be right after the game. Oh, I'm so excited. And hopefully to celebrate the NFC West title.